Hello, 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 and happy Thursday. Welcome to another edition of Coaching from the Couch. I am your host, CWall. And as always, it is such a pleasure and an honor to come to you all and chit-chat it up for a 30-minute session on all of the favorite DC sports teams. Or do we say DMV? Listen, y'all, I go back and forth. Let me just be honest. DC, DMV, we cover it all here. And you all know that. So I'm away for you all to start to get into the virtual room. I already see Benny has checked in. Gotta love the most loyal fan base there is. And I'm not just saying that because I'm talking to y'all. I'm saying it because it's true. It's all facts. Absolutely all facts. Want to make sure everyone is tuning in and sharing the show with their DC DMV sports loving family and friends. We're here every single Thursday at 7:30, unless there's a special event, of course. But we're here every single Thursday to talk all of your favorite sports. Make sure you are sharing the show, because it's always awesome to watch the show later, but live is a lot of fun. Wouldn't you agree? Isn't live a lot of fun? So we know Benny has checked in. We see Cameron Mingo is checking in from the Mystics LA Sparks game at the Entertainment and Sports Arena. We see Joy has checked in. CWall Sports and Entertainment team member, show facilitator. I see David Hood, and everybody take a moment to say hi to my mom. Mama Waller is checked in, as she always is. So let me know that you all are checked in and you are locked in. Lydell, I see you checking in. Need a like or a love emoji while we get into this conversation. I have, you all know the drill. We talk about it all here. You know that, Mike Lyles. We talk about it all here. And why is that? Because when is there a dull moment in DC sports? Never. So, let's get started. So, this week, if you all remember and recall, this is the week that the Washington Capitals won the Stanley Cup. And you all, we're gonna reminisce for a minute. Is that okay with y'all? Is that all right for a minute? Let's just think about that for a minute. Okay? Because every year on the show, we're going to reminisce about that time the Washington Capitals won the Stanley Cup. And I see one of the most awesome sports fans, Trina Austin, checking in, because I was actually with Trina the night. She was one of the people I was with the night that the Caps won the Stanley Cup. We were downtown. And I want to talk about this from the fan perspective, because that energy was electric. That was one of the most amazing moments ever, for certain. Okay, for certain. And again, we all know Caps, another first round exit. And it kind of made me sad as I was looking through the photo memories. I said, wow, Barry Trotz was the coach. And ever since then, because Barry Trotz, of course, was right after the Stanley Cup championship, they all parted ways. No Barry Trotz, Caps, nothing. But since then, guess what? With Barry Trotz, with his new team, he has seen he's won, not just seen, but won 5 playoff series. And the Caps have won 0. 0. That really bothered me. It really bothered me, especially given this week of such amazing and wonderful memories. Still no updates on what the team plans to do with the roster. This is a topic that we've been tracking and we've been discussing here on this show for a few weeks now, maybe even a couple of months, now that we all know that Ovi's contract is up, so that is still in negotiations. So, remains to be seen. We know there's a lot of different options, plenty of scenarios and rumors to go around. We won't get into all of those this evening, but I just wanted to take a moment to reminisce on that good time. Got to start winning more championships around here because championships are fun. Championships are a lot of fun. So, just had to say that. And I guess we should say congratulations to Barry Trotz because, I mean, hey, once a part of the Caps family, always a part of the Caps family. So, we'll congratulate him on another playoff series win. Now, moving on to the Mystics. Mystics fans, check in. Check in. We know that Cameron Mingo is currently at the Entertainment and Sports Arena. And right now, as we speak, the Mystics are taking on the LA Sparks. We got to say what's up to our girl, Christy Tolliver. Christy Tolliver is in town. As you all recall, Christy Tolliver now plays for the LA Sparks. When she couldn't come to a deal that she thought was right and what was best for her with the Mystics, she moved on to the LA Sparks. But Christy was such an important part and aspect of that run it back WNBA championship team from 2019. So we want to say what's up to Christy. Hello. As you know, again, once part of the Mystics family, once part of the DC DMV family, always part of it. And Christy is part of the family anyway. She's from, went to school, high school in Harrisburg, Virginia. She's a Terp. So we already know Christy stuck with us forever, and I hope she understands that. So that game is going on right now as we speak. Got to do a few shout outs there. Special shout out to Natasha Cloud for hitting the 1,000 career point milestone on Tuesday night in the Mystics win versus the Minnesota Lynx. Also on that night, Natasha had a career high 6 steals. So if you haven't already, make sure you all are going online. And right here in the comments, I want you to shout out Natasha, congratulate her, because we always show love to Natasha. She always showing love to us. So shout her out for all the great and wonderful things that she is doing. Another important point that I wanted to bring up that was shared with media earlier this week is that we've discussed this on the show in recent weeks that the Mystics were starting off a little rough, starting off a little rocky, and it was shared with media that Tina Charles and Natasha Cloud felt it was time to call a players-only meeting. And they absolutely had a players-only meeting to get things back on track. Here's a quote I'd like to share from Natasha that she shared with media following the team's win on Tuesday night. She said, "We have a new team. We're trying to get this thing going, which we did tonight, but this needs to be a player-run team." So for us, we need to sit down. We need to talk about who we are, what's our identity, who we want to be. Because this complacency thing and being patient is fine because we are learning things, but there needs to be a sense of urgency. And so for us, it was really just a hashing it out, like in the most respectful way. So I absolutely wanted to share that because I think that's important. I think that's important. We talk about with teams, like at what point do you want to have a players only meeting to talk this through and to talk this out? Don't wait until things get out of hand. If we already know now that things aren't right, things aren't gelling, we see that there's an issue, let's tackle that issue early so we can get it through. We can talk it out. And that's what leaders do. So Tina Charles, leader. We know Natasha is a leader. So I applaud them for stepping up and realizing the need for the team to come together in a players only environment to say, hey, listen, before this thing gets too out of hand, we need to talk. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. Kudos to them for stepping up and being the leaders that they are and getting the team on track. Much appreciated. Much love to them. As we all know, Alina Deladon is still out. She's still out. Sydney Wise dealing with the right ankle sprain. She is also out. Now, I've seen a few fans check in. I've seen a few folks check in. Who did I see? I saw the originator, Sherrod Oliphant. Everybody say what's up to the originator. CWall Sports and Entertainment lead sports writer. The 85 South fan club has checked in. Isaac, I see you. Russ, I see you as well. And Isaac, thanks for letting us know that the Mystics are looking good as we speak. They should. Hey, listen, I'm all about, again, the players only meeting. Yes. More of that. More of that. Love to see it. Absolutely. John Adams has checked in. Damon, I saw you too. And if I missed you, y'all know things are moving fast. Y'all type fast. But I be trying to keep up with everybody. Trying to keep up with everybody. So the Washington Nationals. Washington Nationals fans, are you still in it? Are you still in it? Listen, I've kind of been dancing around this Washington Nationals topic because I always use, I'm telling y'all, here's a tidbit. Here's a tidbit about CWall. And Joy knows this about me. The year that the Caps won the World Series, oh my goodness, early in the season, I would come on the show on Thursdays and I would drag the Nets every single week. Every week when the season first started. And then we all know the Cinderella story. They changed everything around. They were doing much better and they ended up winning the World Series. So now I have a rule when I deal with the Nets. It's, well, hey, let's just wait and see. Right? Let's see how things go. And they had a good game last night. They had a good game against the Rays last night. Okay, good. But we all know that the Nets are still dealing with some challenges. Now, they have a series coming up with the San Francisco Giants, which are doing amazing, might I add. So we'll see what happens. I'm still going to be like, we're going to wait and see what happens. Because here's the thing. It's two things that I've noticed with the Nets. First of all, they're not doing well at all within the division. They're kind of bad in the division. They're not doing well in playing up to their opponents at all within the division. So that is definitely something that's hurting them into June. Like now we're in June. So now is probably, I'm not going to say that we're going to start dragging the Nets, but what I am saying is it's time for them to wake up a bit and start making some progress in the win column. But they're not doing that well in the division, and they're just falling behind. I mean, offense isn't really doing what it should be doing. Max Scherzer, from a pitching perspective, is still having an amazing season, but I know we're not getting the productivity out of Strauss because he's been dealing with an injury. So, remains to be seen. There still can be some moves made. General Manager Mike Rizzo has been talking about potential moves before the end of July trade deadline. So this is also a topic that we should probably be tracking and paying attention to. What moves are going to be made, because I'm pretty certain where the Nats are right now is not where they anticipated they would be. Let's continue to watch this. Let's continue to watch this, because it's not pretty. It's not great. And it's been a little quiet. So it could be something brewing for certain. Now, with everything opening up in D.C., I do believe the park, Nats Park, will be at full capacity tomorrow. I think Coach Ron Rivera from the Washington football team is throwing out the first pitch at this first full capacity game. So fans will be back in the building. Maybe that'll help. Maybe that will help get the team energized and get the bats going. We shall see. But something is needed. A push is needed, because they're even like 8 or 9 spots out of a wild card spot. So they have to pump it up and get it going, because if not, hey, listen, they won't even make a wild card. And they gotta do more than that. Come on, y'all. We want them to at least make the wild card, but they're about gotta be 8 or 9 slots out right now. So we shall see. We shall absolutely see what happens next. Checking in, Wizards fans. Wizards fans, where are you? Where are you? Yes, the Wizards season is over. And if you were tuned in last week and you were locked in to Culture from the Couch last week, you know I did my bid adieu to the 2020-2021 season. Also, I have to shout out the CWall podcast. I don't know if you all are watching, but if you're not, you need to absolutely subscribe on YouTube to the CWall podcast. Subscribe on Spotify as well. We recorded our our season recap last episode about the Wizards season this week. So that will soon be up for you all's viewing and listening pleasure. So, Wizards fans, just keep your head up. Try to keep your head up. I don't know. If you haven't already, vote for Russell Westbrook for the NBA Community Assist Award. You can go on Twitter. You can go online and cast your vote. Vote for Brody. Russell Westbrook, NBA Community Assist Award this year. Okay? Absolutely. Please do that. Also, if you haven't already, the Wizards are going through their exit interviews. You can hear them and listen out for them on the team's podcast. So they did it a little different this year, where the Wizards players are doing it within the team. So they're going about it individually. I think Ruiz had his, Daniel Gafford, Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal. I'm sure I'm missing a few people, Robin Lopez. So the exit interviews are out there for your listening ears to see what the players individually had to say about the season and their thoughts about the season and what they're going to be focused on in the off season. I think it's important for everybody to listen in on that. It's very important. You've probably already saw reports, and Bradley Beal actually said it in the presser after the last game they played against the Philadelphia 76ers, that he was going to start getting on the phone and start recruiting. So I don't know what you all are thinking, or who you all would like to make sure Bradley Beal calls, but he absolutely said the recruiting process has begun. So we'll see what happens with that and see what direction the team goes in with that. Still no word with, the future of Scott Brooks, whether or not he will be coming back. So again, a lot of what we're sharing and what we're talking about tonight here is just keeping your eye out on these different storylines. watch for the news, watch for any, information that's coming out, because things could absolutely happen very quickly. So I know the Wizard. Listen, I have to acknowledge this. My cousin is saying that they can call her the coach, and I'm going to tell them as soon as I get off this show with you all, because I absolutely believe you can do it. For sure. You can get them straight. Absolutely. Now, Washington football fans, check in. Check in, Washington football team fans. Check in. Check in. And I see you, Corey. I see you checked in. Chief of DC, I've seen you have checked in. Washington football fans. Mike, I see your comment first. Then Damon. Up, my aunt and my godmother. She's checked in as well. Let me ask you all something. I asked a question earlier today, and it was around, who is your player to watch? And while you all are listing who are your players to watch, player or players, who are you, mini camp this week, and then, we'll soon be going into training camp. So who are the players that you are looking to really see what's going on with them? And Isaac, I have to ask you which Sims, because yes, Cam Sims has absolutely been talked about this week for certain. A lot of positive feedback about Cam in terms of just how everyone can see his growth for certain. And I think, I'm a Cam Sims advocate. So I'm absolutely delighted to know that he's showing continued growth and continued leadership and continuing to work on his craft. It's always so interesting. You all know Cam's story. Cam would get cut and they would bring him back after he got through waivers, and he found a way to make himself impactful on special teams. And then last year, he had some opportunities, as you all know, play at the wide receiver position, and he made some plays. And so it sounds like he's picking right up where he left off last season. So that's positive, very positive. Positive news. I also saw some comments about Heineke. Chief of DC, I see your comment. The quarterbacks have your eyes and undivided attention. Likewise. That's where my eyes are tuned in as well with the quarterbacks. What was directly told to me was that Heineke looks really good. And that's good. That's positive. That's what you want to hear. And you're going to want to hear about the energy around Ryan Fitzpatrick and all of that as well. Hey, listen, the team doesn't have to have just one good quarterback. It would be exciting and it would be amazing if the starter and the backup could be trustworthy. I think that's great. I think that's awesome. So that is absolutely a storyline that we want to keep our eyes open for, our ears open. So far, positive feedback. One thing I wanted to mention, other things that are coming out of training camp, seeing reports from Rhiannon Walker from The Athletic. Rhiannon is talking about Antonio Gibson. And that he's looking better than last year. And I'm like, better? Ooh. See, here's my thing. Get better. That's good. And that's promising. And you want to hear that, because Antonio Gibson, I think he's still dealing with that lingering turf toe issue. And if anybody out there watching or listening has had to deal with turf toe, you know how painful turf toe is. So to still see the level of production out of Gibson, even while he was dealing with that lingering injury and still dealing with that now, that's huge. That's absolutely huge. And enjoying all of those things. I'm going to go back to the Sims. There was some positive feedback about Steven Sims this week. I know Steven Sims had a hard time last year. And it's not, many, myself included, felt very disappointed in his production or lack thereof last year. Not a great year for him at all from a special teams perspective. So to hear his name get called and say, oh, wow, hey, he had a nice catch. That was cool. I thought that was positive. I said, hey, let's talk about that. That's cool. Hearing Cameron Curl's name again. One of the rookies, Benjamin St. Just. I'm just going to ask him, how do you say your name? Because I probably will say it wrong. I ask people that question all the time. Listen, don't let me butcher your name out here. But at any rate, Ben, great things. Great positive feedback so far. And did you see the report again from Rhiannon? Ben had the nerve to just step right over Terry McLaurin. Sir, wait a second. Do you know that that's Terry McLaurin that you just going to do the AI, the Allen Iverson step over when he stepped over Tyronn Lue? My word. Ben, I guess you don't care. And that's all right with me. I like that attitude. That's the right attitude to have. And hey, listen, it's a competition. It's on. And hey, do that week 1 through 20. Need to see that every week. Every single week. Cole Holcomb is a name that's continuously coming up. Bobby McCain. A lot of positive feedback about Bobby McCain. And so, I don't know. I mean, it's always early. Minicamp is it's early. It's early. It's minicamp. But you do want to, latch on to the new names that you're hearing, or even the, oldie but goodies, if you will, of who was there last year or the year before, and they're coming back stronger, better than ever. Do I even need to say it? Of course, I don't want you all to be thinking, well, wow, CWall didn't even say anything about Chase Young. Do I need to? Do we need to say anything about Chase Young? Because guess what? Chase Young is going to do what? He going to be Chase Young. He going to do Chase Young, type of things. So we already know he's coming in blazing and showing all of the leadership, characteristics that we all know and love about Chase. So I want to know from you all. I haven't seen everybody comment just yet. I think I saw some say something about the safeties, or was it the corners? Any other questions or thoughts that you all have about minicamp? Anything you all have. Diami Brown, that's another name. Wide receivers. The wide receiver, is interesting. And because while you all are commenting about what other questions or things that you all want to discuss or talk about before we close the show for this week, I'm like, I remember when it was like the wide receivers were a bunch of no-names, and now the wide receivers have nothing but speed and opportunity. And it's like, whoa. I guess the coaching staff knew that they needed to beef that position up. Absolutely. The linebacker position needed to beef that up. I do believe that position is absolutely beefed up. John Adams, I see your question about how do we feel about quarterback for real. I feel good. I'm going to be honest. I mean, when you think about some of the things that Coach Rivera has said, Coach Rivera clearly believes like, hey, you can get an average quarterback, but if you have stellar performance from that quarterback, just do the basics. Be able to do the basics. Be able to do the foundational things in football. And you have beefed up in-depth talent in other areas, then I say, hey, we might be all right. Again, a lot of positive feedback about Ryan Fitzpatrick, but even so much more, Taylor Heineke has been turning heads. Folks are like, wait a minute. Taylor Heineke taking this competition thing seriously. I see, Mike, I see your question there about, I guess Aaron Rodgers is officially on a holdout. Does the Washington football team make a play? Listen, here's what I think. I think every team, except for maybe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Tom Brady, right? I think just about every team is going to make a call just to see what Green Bay is going to say. That's one of the things that I've learned. You just make a call just to see what they going to say. What would I really have to give up in order to get Aaron Rodgers? It doesn't mean you're going to do anything, but it doesn't mean that because you already know you're not going to do anything, you don't still make the call. Make the call. It can't hurt. It can't hurt. Not at all. Now, I'm not saying that any of the current quarterbacks are Aaron Rodgers and it's like, oh, we don't need him. Oh, no. When you're talking to somebody the caliber of an Aaron Rodgers, caliber at their position, oh, no. Listen, you make that call. Absolutely make the call. That's my answer to that. I see that dude Skip's question about players unvaccinated. That is information that the team is keeping in-house, and the NFLPA keeps in-house as well. So with that information stays in-house until the team wants that information to be public officially. Then they'll share that information at that time. Isaac, how concerned are you on Heineke's height? Have you been beside him? I mean, hey, I'm not concerned about his height. Yes, I have been beside him. And I mean, hey, I have learned being beside any of the players. They look a lot taller, a lot bigger on TV. And then you get in real life when they now have, pads on and you're like, oh, I'm not concerned at all about Heineke's height. And this might sound a little cliche to some of you all because listen, that kid got some amazing heart. Let me tell you something. Here's what I believe about Taylor Heineke. I absolutely believe that Taylor Heineke believes that he's the best quarterback on that roster and he's going to act accordingly. That's what I believe. That's the level of confidence. He has been given an opportunity and he's going for it. Full steam ahead. And I love that energy. Absolutely love the energy. Well, you guys, I think we made it another week. Another week of coaching from the couch. Listen, make sure you can still, it's not too late. You can still share the show with your DC sports loving family and friends. You all, there's never, ever a dull moment in DC sports. Not ever. And one day I'm going to decide whether I'm going to say DC or DMV. You will continue to hear me struggle with that. Just jokes. But anyway, you guys, have a blessed rest of your evening and week. And I will see y'all next Thursday.